Turning back now to the escalating tensions in the Middle East. Overnight, a drone attack hit a base used by U.S. troops in eastern Syria, killing 6 of their Kurdish allies. No American casualties were reported. It's the first significant response to U.S. airstrikes that hit militia bases in Syria and Iraq over the weekend. The U.S. strikes were in response to other attacks, including the drone strike that killed 3 Americans in Jordan last week. Holly Williams is in Erbil in northern Iraq. Holly, good morning.
Good morning, Anne-Marie. Well, with those strikes here in Iraq, as well as next door in Syria and in Yemen, the U.S. targeted groups that are supported by Iran. And all of them have been carrying out attacks that they say are in solidarity with Palestinians.
The US and the UK launched strikes on 36 targets in Yemen late on Saturday, including Houthi missile systems and radars. The Houthis' slogan includes calls for death to America and death to Israel. The group vowed the strikes would not go unpunished, and just hours later, US forces say they hit several Houthi cruise missiles, preparing to launch against ships in the Red Sea. The Houthis receive equipment and money from Iran, according to the US. It came just a day after the US says it hit 85 targets here in Iraq and over the border in Syria. The US strikes were retaliation for the killing of 3 American soldiers just over a week ago in Jordan. The US says there have been around 170 attacks on its military in this region by Iran-backed groups since October. But when we interviewed Iran's foreign minister in November, he denied that his country was behind the uptick in violence.
So it sounds like you're saying that Iran backs these groups around the Middle East, but you bear no responsibility for what they do.
These groups in Iraq and Syria that are attacking US interests have made their own decisions, he told us. Ever since the Israel-Hamas conflict started, there have been fears it could expand, likely involving Iran's proxies.
The US does not want the Israel-Hamas war to widen, but nor does it want attacks by Iran-backed groups to go unanswered, perhaps emboldening America's enemies. And that is a very difficult balance. Anne-Marie.
Holly, I'm curious, what has the reaction been where you are to the U.S. strikes in Iraq and Syria?
Well, Anne-Marie, we've had reports in Iraq and Syria of around 40 people killed by the strikes, including both fighters and civilians. Now, we can't independently confirm that or those numbers. The US says that this is just the beginning of its response and there will be more steps. We don't know what they are yet. Iran, as you would expect, has condemned the US strikes, saying that they're in violation of international law and calling them a, quote, strategic error, which will intensify tensions. We should point out, though, that the US did not strike Iran within its own territory, and that's important because the US would say that's part of its carefully calibrated response. Here in Iraq, the government said that the strikes put security on the brink of the abyss, and they said that they were a violation of Iraq's sovereignty. And in Syria, the government accused the US of being the main source of global instability. Excuse me. There are around 2,500 US troops here in Iraq and about 900 over the border in Syria. And I should point out that the attacks by Iran-backed groups, yes, on the one hand, are an expression of solidarity with Palestinians, they say, but on the other hand, they are explicitly sending the message that they want those US troops to leave. They do not want America to have a footprint in this part of the world. Ironically, though, just a few years ago in this part of the world, the US and those Iran-backed groups were essentially on the same side in a different conflict, the war against ISIS. And that's just a reminder, in case you needed one, of how endlessly complex the Middle East is.
But we know ultimately diplomacy makes a huge difference. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is in the region, his 5th trip since October. What's he going to be working on?
Well, Anthony Blinken's going to be visiting Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Qatar, Israel and the West Bank this week. He's going to be pushing again for the release of the remaining more than 100 hostages that are being held in the Gaza Strip following the October 7th attacks. He's also going to be pushing for another humanitarian pause so that more aid, including food and medicine, can go into the Gaza Strip. His visit comes at a time of deep political divisions inside Israel. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is under enormous pressure domestically to get those hostages out, including from some of their families who have been quite vociferous. But he's also under pressure from some of his own coalition partners, that is from within the government, about how much he should give up in return for those hostages. Meanwhile, the US also wants to talk about the long term. That is, what happens after the Israel-Hamas war ends, and whether there's a return to the cycle of violence that we've seen to decades, or whether there's some kind of long-term solution. At this point, that certainly seems a long way off.
It certainly does. Holly, thank you.